My last video was the proper procedure on torquing the cylinder head down to the block. So now I've got my camshafts installed. The exhaust camshaft has two different profiles. I'm not going to get too off topic here, but they slide, that's why it's called a tfsi. The intake cam is just a single profile. The intake cam has the thick rollers. The exhaust cam, since it has two different profiles, has the thin rollers. So you want to make sure you have everything correctly installed. All you have to do is drop them into place, but you want to pay super close attention that nothing's damaged, because sometimes people are taking these things off engines that have had catastrophic failure with the valves getting bent. So it's a possibility that something's damaged with these rockers if that happens. I suggest always replacing the rockers if that's the case. But in this case, it was just disassemble and reassemble for oil consumption. All my cylinder heads get rebuilt. The biggest advantage of that is all the valves are clean, brand new. The valve guides are replaced. The valve stem seals are new. We know that the valves are all going to seal properly. Everything's clean and tidy. I've got assembly lube, assembly grease on the bottom and the top. I spun the cams around, and then before you install it, you want to make sure that your lines are on the top. They're not going to be perfectly up top, but these little lines right here, and then if you look down, not all cams are going to have that little half moon, but they're going to be as close as you can get them right here. And then we're going to take this camshaft tray and we're going to carefully set it on top here. Now I'm just going to drop all my bolts in and then we'll torque it to spec. Well, before you go ahead and torque this thing to spec, there's this little plug right here, and it will be helpful to put it in first. Now let's torque it down. All the bolts are installed. Make sure that this plug is flush. If you want to, you can put sealant on it, but it's fine. Remember, we're supposed to tighten this by hand, no power tools. So you want your fuel brushless impact on number 1, and then I like to start in the center. I like to go, and then we go 2, I'm trying to see what I'm doing through the viewfinder, and it makes it a little bit more tricky. This is 5. And this is 6. Now the next step would be, with a torque wrench, we're going to go 8 Newton meters and do the same thing. 8 Newton meters. This is step 2. This is step 3. This is step 4. This is step 5. And these last 2 are step 6. But before I get to the torque wrench, I'm going to go full-blown number 1 fuel. So here we go. See how this one's super loose? One, 2, 3, 4. Now we're gonna see if I over-torqued it. Did I over-torque it? Give me a hard time. Call me an idiot. Let me see if I can torque these to 8 Newton meters. Will the torque wrench work? Now you're gonna have to have a little mini quarter drive torque wrench for something like this. The 3/8 drive is not gonna go down to 8 Newton meters. But this one has inch bounds and it has Newton meters right here. And I'm set to, I don't know if it'll zoom, but I'm set to 8 Newton meters. So we're doing the same exact sequence. Will it torque, or did I just completely screw myself by using a power tool? Well, look at this. That's quite a bit of turning before it's doing anything. There we go. Did you see that? Look, see how loose it is? I went through that procedure twice. And I'm just gonna choke up quite a bit on this torque wrench. That's like a full turn. Right there's a click. I just heard gunshots in my neighborhood, by the way. There's the click. Let's see how much this turn is. See, it's super loose. It's the second sequence. And then I hear some people saying, you shouldn't be holding it like that. Well, let me switch it up and show you. Holding it like that because these things are so loose, because my stage 1 on my little quarter drive impact didn't even get anywhere close to 8 Newton meters. Look at this. One full turn, more than a full turn. Let's see, look, I'm gonna go out because it's still torquing. See that? Every single one is spinning before it's torquing. Now for good measure, I'm gonna go back into the center. So I'm doing quite a bit more steps than even the instructions are telling me. So I'm gonna go back on this row and just double check and make sure. All right, it's perfectly smooth click, no rotation of the bolt. See that? So that's where everything's supposed to be. Everything's perfectly at 8 Newton meters. Now we need to go quarter turns. So no more torque wrench. We're gonna move to a fixed breaker bar or a long ratchet. Same exact thing as in the steps, but we're going 90s now. So it's going 90. Just like so. Perfectly torqued. A lot of times when I see someone else has one of these apart and they put them back together, they don't seem to have these bolts in properly, because I see a lot of these bolts coming loose. And for anyone that wants to ask, I do reuse these bolts, but you're supposed to replace them. I don't see any stretching or problems with reusing them. But do it right on your own car. I don't care. You get the idea. I'm going all the way around like this. I'm doing the same exact thing. There you are, perfectly torqued cam tray.